This is Larry Zbyszko, wrestling's living legend, and you're watching Monte and the Pharaoh.
If you're injured, is to grow up and be a man. Come on.
All right. Welcome to another edition of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, only seen here on Village Connection Radio, live from Rockstar Studios. This is Monte and the Pharaoh, and at the board is none other than station manager, co-host of The In Crowd, co-host of Mill and a Rockstar, award-winning novelist Stephen Miller.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
And by the way, this is all factual stuff. This is not made up stuff.
No lies. Yeah,
and to my right is none other than the star of the show, Jimmy Pharaoh.
Good evening, everybody. Back again.
And then the most exciting part of tonight's show is none other than pro wrestling superstar, pro wrestling Hall of Famer, Mr. Koko Ware. Koko.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in today. I really appreciate it. So Jimmy's gonna have at you. I'm gonna start off.
Oh well.
All right, get the whole.
Come on, Jimmy, I'm waiting on you.
Blood flowing.
Well,
come on, baby.
He's got to get the formal introduction from the Pharaoh, ladies and gentlemen. May I introduce you to our esteemed guest, born James Ware on June 20th, 1957. Better known by his in-ring name, Koko Ware, semi-retired, so they say. I'm not so sure about that. American professional.
Sooner or later, you'll find out.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't want to. No, William. Semi-retired American professional wrestler. 1978 is when he made his debut. He was born in Union City, Tennessee, United States. Residence. How do I pronounce this? Collierville?
Collierville, man.
Oh, okay.
Get it together.
Yeah, I will try. I'd like to, except I
Damn
can't
New
see.
Yorkers.
I know. What's with our slang? Tennessee, United States. All right. Professional wrestling career. He's had several names. Koko Ware, of course, as we know. Stagger Lee, Sweet Brown Sugar, and Koko Ware. Build 5'7", 228.
The Birdman, man. Don't forget about it.
The Birdman, of course. And, of course, he's got the resume as follows. NWA United States Tag Team Championship Florida version with Norvell Austin. Yep. CWA, as we all remember from the territory days. AWA Southern Tag Team Champion 7 times. 7 times. We have with 3 times with Norvell Austin, Bobby Eaton 2 times. Nice. Wow. Stan Lane and Dutch Mantell. NWA Mid-America Heavyweight Champion 6 times.
Unbelievable.
6 times.
Man.
Yep. And I do believe the very first ever NWA Mid-America Television Champion. Also, WCCW Heavyweight Championship. Pro Wrestling Illustrated ranked him in the top 500, of course, as we love our PWI, back in 2003. And a former 2-time USWA Unified World Champion and a Tag Team Champion in USWA. But most importantly, WWE Hall of Fame class 2009. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Koko Ware.
Yes. I
got it together at the end. I tried.
It wasn't bad, right?
Yeah, you got it in. You got lucky.
Got lucky.
That is a long, prestigious career, my friend.
Damn. I really appreciate everything, man. For you guys even invite me here and all that. It's been an honor.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
So let's open up with the first question. Why pro wrestling? How does this even happen?
Well, just like everyone else, it's something you just fall in love with. I don't know what it is. You just see it and you think you can do it, and then once you get the opportunity to do it, man, you just fall in love with it, and just keep going. and until you can go as high as you can go.
Did
You know.
this love affair begin as a child with pro wrestling?
You know what? Ever since professional wrestling ever came in my hometown of Union City, Tennessee, as a kid, I felt in love with it, and I told my mother and father, I said, this is what I want to be. I want to be that professional wrestler, and I want to go all over the world, and I just want to do everything I can do, and I want to be able to save money and I don't have to work no more. What I'm saying, that's the job that I wanted, where I don't want to have to do anything else. But everything else was great, you know. But the money just, you know, I fell short on the money end. But that's okay. But God still blesses me each and every day, and guys like you keep Koko Beware the Birdman going, man. You know, they keep me alive and stuff like that, and vice versa. You know, I'm here to help you guys out also.
Absolutely. Then we thank you for that.
Thank
we
you.
do thank you for that.
Can I ask real quick? Was there a particular wrestler when you were a child that you said, "Hey, I want to be like him"?
Well, it was fact that I mean he's known now all over the world with WWE. And that's Jerry the King Lawler. I wanted to be, because he was kind of like Ric Flair. He was one of the dirty guys that wrote the book of being a dirty man.
Wow.
And ever since Lawler came out with he had 15 wrestling chain in his boots, up on his arms, in his tights. He had just had a chain all over his body that a referee took off one night. And I thought that was the coolest thing. That said, golly, couldn't you believe that? And it was just in my blood. You know, I was actually I was a high school football player for the Union City Golden Tornadoes and stuff.
Go Tornadoes!
And that's right, go Tornadoes.
Position, please.
And I was
What position?
I was a guard. I was an offensive guard, and I was a nose guard, also on defense. And I was like one of the fastest nose men that they ever saw in their life. The coaches couldn't believe it because I was so fast at getting off the line of scrimmage. I was in the backfield. Bam! I was the only lineman that ever scored a touchdown. That I picked up a fumble one night and straight on into the end zone, and the people in the fans up in the fans, they didn't know what was going on until I raised the ball up. I'm in the end zone, and then they come unglued.
Yeah.
So I was outstanding in that, but it still wasn't my dream. My dream was still that, hey, I want to be that wrestler. I wanted to be that little black boy from a little small town of Union City, Tennessee, to make it so big and just go out there and just be on the biggest stage of my life. I saw this WrestleMania as a kid in my dream that I'm there. I'm there with the best of them, and God made it happen. I mean, a lot of prayers and stuff. God made it happen for me to be in WrestleMania 3, 93,000 some people. I'm talking about, man, I was just had goosebumps going down the aisle and stuff like that, because I'm going, oh my God, you answered my prayers. Tears was coming out, and and it was just pandemonium. And I'm just looking at the people chatting for this little boy. They don't even really know. It just came from out of nowhere. And didn't come from the Big Apple, didn't come from Chicago, didn't come from L.A.
Right.
Came from a little small town with a population
Beat
of
the odds.
10,000.
Beat the odds.
We were speaking earlier before you came on. We were talking about when you got to WWE and you first played Madison Square Garden. Was that the biggest thrill for you, or was WrestleMania 3 the biggest thrill?
Well,
for you?
WrestleMania 3 was the biggest, but Madison Square, all these arenas, the Boston Garden, the United Center, Rosemont Arena, and all this stuff, all these events, man, they was unbelievable. What I'm saying, but nothing was over the edge like like the WrestleManias, where because I'm telling you, there was a God bless her heart, she's gone on to heaven. Aretha Franklin, she sung the national anthem there, and I got a chance to meet her.
Yeah.
And that's the last time I ran into her. But that was WrestleMania 3, 1987, and what a talent she were, man. You know.
Let's go back a little bit. When you decide you want to be a pro wrestler, did you speak to your mom or dad about this, and what were their responses to you?
Well, my mom, they was just, you know, they was like, I don't know what he's talking about. You know, I don't know if it's gonna happen. You know, he's young right now, and I don't think he really knows what he wants to do right now and stuff like that with himself. But I just kept going every Thursday night. They had wrestling in my hometown, and the different guys was there, and I was there. I mean, I didn't miss a beat. And
Who trained you?
well, it was just some local guys, and I tell you, show you how God works. It was just one Sunday afternoon. I was on my little bicycle, and I was just riding around. I said, I'm gonna ride down by the wrestling building. Well, nobody there, I thought. So when I rode down there, and I'm just riding around, and then I rode around the back of the building. Then I heard some boom, 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 like somebody's in the ring wrestling on a Thursday night. I said, this is not Thursday night. This is Sunday afternoon. The local guys was in there working out. And I just kind of peeked through, and I wasn't afraid. And I stayed there. I just stayed there and watched them for the longest before they realized there was somebody at the door looking. They said, sir, and said, yeah, can we help you? I said, yeah. I said, man, can I please be a part of y'all? Can I join y'all wrestling deal or whatever? And he said, well, so you got the right size and everything, because I was just playing football, you know, and I was kind of buffed out there.
You're a big dude.
And they said, well, you need to go home and get some kind of write-up, which tell your mother that we're not responsible for it, and anything that happened in here and stuff like that. And, man, you're talking about somebody jumped on. I thought I was in an Indianapolis 500 headed home. I burnt that bicycle up, man. I looked like I peeled rubber all over the top of that hill.
Wow.
And I just told my mother, and I told her about it, and she said, mother, you just got to sign something. My mother, I don't know what she just scribbled on something, whatever. It didn't make no difference. And they couldn't, I don't think they could, I couldn't read it, and they couldn't read it. They said, well, I said, my mother signed it. Well, if she signed it, well, it's okay. You can start working out with us.
Wow. That's great.
And these are guys, just local guys, you know, and they still live. Two of them passed on. One of them passed on, and two of them still live in Union City. Is Gene Hall and I can't even think of my other guys. It's been so long. I remember those guys, and they were just no names. They hadn't been discovered on national TV. Anything like that hadn't been on TV. There was no TV at all. They were just out there that Sunday.
So it all starts for you very simple. How did we come up with the name Koko Beware?
Well, the Koko Beware actually started in football.
Really?
Yeah, it started in football because I was the only black American. Now I'm saying black African, black American that played on the football team at the time.
Okay.
But I was so devastated and where it was kind of one of my players. I don't know. We was in the huddle one time, and great sense of humor out of all the football teams. You know, the guys that I grew up with. Great sense of humor. And one of them said, let Koko do it. And when he said let Koko do it, that opened up a can of worms. Everybody started, Koko, wow. And the coaches going, I said, do you mind we call you Koko? He said, you're not going to get offended by it? I said, no, hey, I am Koko. I stand out, I'm the Koko that stands out. Okay, well, and ever since then, it was Koko. And I was all in the newspapers and everything. It's Koko. At that time, they were spelling it C-O-C-O.
Okay.
And then once I got into wrestling, I'm gonna tell you. And then I finally worked. I worked out with these guys for 1 year. And then when I worked out with them, they called me up and said, Koko, we need you to go to this wrestling show with us. Bring your bag and stuff like that, and you may get a chance to wrestle. I'm going like, okay. Then I was nervous, the butterflies. I said, wow. Well, what's the matter? You don't? I said, yeah, I want to go. Well, just come on, get your suitcase, come on. I finally got my little suitcase. Now I'm sitting back here in the back seat. I'm just so nervous, man. I'm telling you, just scared to death.
How old are you right then?
I guess I was around maybe 17, 18,
You're a
something
baby.
like that.
Oh my God.
Okay. And just nervous and stuff like that. And then they finally.
Well, they put you in the ring with Gypsy Joe?
Well, what happened? They when we got to the parking lot, everybody was getting their bags. Once again, this is how they initiated me. Once again, they said, Koko, you're not getting your suitcase. I said, what do you mean? I'm not right. He said, well, this way here, you don't have to run back to the car to get your suitcase. You can already have it just in case somebody don't show up. So I said, okay. So I walked in. There's these big monsters in the dressing room. Oh, my God. Boy, they all look like Andre the Giant. I'm talking about the land of the giants.
Right.
And I walked in, and I was trained to go in this little bitty corner and sit down. Don't say nothing. Keep your mouth closed. Don't say nothing until somebody come up to you and So I was sitting there real quiet for that week. For 3 weeks, I had to sit in that corner and not say a word to nobody. Nobody came by. But that fourth week, this big monster came over. He said, hey, kid. And I'm going, hey, sir, how you doing? He came over and shook my hand. Big guy. And he said, are you one of the wrestlers? I said, no, sir, I'm training, want to be one. He said, what do you mean you want to be one? He said, I said, I just want to be one. He said, oh, okay. You think you got it. You want to be one of us. I said, yeah, sure. I'm trying to. So he said, I sat back down. I sat back down. I'm getting excited here. I sat back down, and then the other guy came up. He started talking to me, and it went on and on. All the rest looked like all the other guys in the dressing room came up and shook their hands and all this stuff. So the promoter came over there after it was getting close to bell time. They done gave me the name, Koko Kid. I was young.
Right.
They done gave me the name, and the promoter comes over and says, Koko, are you a big shot already? You think you a big shot already? What? I said. He said, you're not gonna get dressed tonight? And I said, I'm not wrestling tonight. He said, Koko, you're not wrestling tonight. The hell you're not. Look here, Koko. Somebody bring me this wrestling card poster. I see the wrestling poster. Koko Kid versus the Super Destroyer.
Nice.
You on the first match.
Wow.
To get dressed. And I'm going, that's a 300-pound guy that I came over and shook my hand 3 weeks ago. And when he came over again, he said, yes, I'm gonna bust you up tonight.
Oh
Yeah, you want to be a wrestler?
no.
Yeah, I'm gonna bust you up. And you talking about my eyes, God, they just like, oh my God. These guys was on the floor. They was all on the floor laughing and going on.
Right.
And it said, Koko, just go out there and like you've been wrestling, and you've been practicing at the arena back at home. Just do the same thing. Just don't worry about it. But golly, what can y'all get me somebody a little bit smaller? You picked the biggest man on this earth. He said, hey, that's part of it. Sometimes you're gonna have to do that. And this Super Destroyer got me out there, and man, he bumped me and bumped me and bumped me. I'm talking about he must have slammed me probably about 15. Because they done told him, said, now he takes good bumps.
Right.
He takes good bumps and all this stuff. So they want to see. Said, you can give him any kind of bump you want to take. They slammed me for over about 15 times. And just, I was so sore, man. I'm telling you, he won the match, but I don't know how he won it. But then I finally got back home. The next morning, I couldn't get out of the bed trying to go to school.
Did he sell for you at all?
Man, did he? I wish he would have.
You did all the selling that night.
Yeah, I did it every bit of the selling.
Wow.
And my mother said, "You sure you want to be this wrestler and stuff like that?" I said, "Mother, I guess so. I still love it, Mother, but golly, this guy here just kept slamming me and slamming me. I can just see it in my dreams, So after a while, I said, well, you know what?
Well, did he talk to you after the match? He say, "Good job, kid," or was it like, you still had to earn your way into the industry?
He didn't talk to me at all. I mean, my trainers came over and said, "You did a pretty good job." Back in the car when we got in the car,
Okay.
You did a pretty good job tonight and stuff. But that Super Destroyer, I didn't see him till later on, and then we got out there and worked again, and his attitude was a lot nicer. And we went out there and had a dynamite match.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about we had a good match.
Good match. Right.
Where he came back and said, hell of a match, kid.
Good.
Golly, he said, man, I can see prospect in you.
What was a payday back then for an indie match like that?
Well, you know what? Now, the promoter that booked me, the guys that booked me, they was handing out little slips. And I got paid like $15.
Okay.
That was $1 per bump. You said you were slammed
Exactly.
15 times, so
Yes.
you got $1 per body slam.
Was it the best
Boy.
$15 you ever made?
What's trouble about it, though? It was a $15 that I never received.
Oh my God!
Well,
You received the bumps.
I gave it back to
What's that promoter's name? Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yo, that's what I'm saying.
Check
Oh,
bounce.
no,
$15 check.
no, but that's cold-blooded.
I'm just an advocate. I'm just an advocate.
No, man. But the promoter, man, he said, Koko, man, I hate to do it, but I need the $15. That's just part of your dues. So you're not ready for payoff yet and stuff like that.
Right.
So here I am again. I don't know if I'm ready or not, but all I wanted to do is wrestle.
Right.
And hopefully, all this will pay off after a while.
Yeah. Well.
So when does it start to pay off for you?
Oh, the payoff actually started when I ran against I met Big Uncle Elmer, Plowboy Frazier.
Yep, Plowboy Frazier.
I met him, and he had a furniture store in Union City.
Okay.
And when I met him, I got to talk to him, and he really got me over the edge, cause he was a good friend of Jerry Lawler's. And Jerry Lawler was kind of like a booker in Memphis, Tennessee. And then he called Jerry and told him, said, Jerry, hey, I got a kid I want you to take a look at. Man, he's a good prospect, and he's good. He's got a good attitude and stuff like that for the business. And I think he can do us some business, So Jerry said, well, bring him over to Blytheville, Arkansas, and went over to Blytheville, Arkansas, and I met Jerry. And Jerry said, Big Plowboy, they call him Plowboy Frazier, Uncle Elmer said, man, you really can get out there and fly and get it. He said, "I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put you in one of my guys, one of my best bump takers or high flyers. His name was Cowboy Frankie Lane, and he said this guy can go. I'm talking about he's a nonstop. I said, just be ready because this guy called things out there and just said zip zip zip, zip just go, just go. And he said, you think you can handle it? I said, well, we'll just wait. We'll just see. By then, the butterflies done settled down and everything like that. I done got more relaxed in the ring. Done got the stage fright off of me. And so Frankie Lang went out there and he started calling things. And, man, I was right there on the money. He started calling something else. He started doing all kind of calling, just over the top rope, do this, do that, do this, And Frankie was going, golly, kid, man, you're great. Oh, man, I love this. I love it. And we went out there for probably about 10 or 15 minutes. And, of course, I slipped on a banana peeling and he beat me. That's the only reason why.
Wrote that in.
So, where's your first actual contact with Lawler that you might sit down with him and he starts talking about working his territory?
Well, that was it. I mean, what I'm saying after that match, Lawler said, "Man,"
So you're talking with the guy.
Yeah. Now Lawler comes back and say, "Can you make the Memphis Wrestling on Saturday morning?" This was Friday night, so I had to. I didn't want to say no. I couldn't make it. But I just made plans. Yes, I'll make it. I'll make Saturday. He said because I want my other promoter to take a look at you, Jared. I want him to take a look at you and stuff like that. And said, man, you did really good. And I went out there on Memphis TV Wrestling, wrestled against a big old guy named another big guy that kept me with these big guys. I was married to him for a while. He gave me a ring and I gave him one.
Right.
But. It was big Joe LeDuc.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know him.
Yep,
big Canadian Joe LeDuc.
Yep.
And what really got me, Joe LeDuc just did an interview before our match, took an axe and just cut his whole arm. I'm talking about just blood going everywhere. I mean, just cutting it, just taking a big axe and just ripping his. You can see blood just. This was real, man. I'm talking about real.
Yeah.
And he had to get sold up, but Joe didn't care. And he was going, Jared Lawler, this is what I think of you. And I'm going, I got to wrestle this guy.
Yeah.
you know.
So you're still babe in the woods at this point, right?
Yes, yeah.
So you're in the good old boys network,
Right.
Is there any point that Lawler or Jarrett or we've had a couple of wrestlers in here, New Jack, and their claim is both of them were pretty racist. Did you feel that when you?
Lawler
and Jarrett?
No, it wasn't. No. You know what? I'm going to say this.
Well, two things too. I want you to tell that, but also, at some point, do you realize that it's more of a white guy's sport at this point?
Yes, I always said that wrestling is nothing but a white man's sport because the white man he created it. It was. Did you know how it started? Wrestling? Do y'all know how it started?
Do tell.
Well, it was two big pop belly wrestlers, white men, that was sitting around drinking beer.
Are you looking at me right now, dude?
I mean,
Thanks, Koko.
Hey,
Unreal.
What kind of beer? By the way?
Well,
what kind of beer? You know the brand though?
Well, I'm
very picky.
Well, I don't know.
Coors?
Coors. Budweiser.
Okay. So we got the beginning. Go on.
Okay, and then, but they would go around, and then this old lady, she was just walking. And these guys done had a few beers and sitting there and just hot, day and stuff like that. So one of them went over and hit the other one
with a foreign object.
Yeah, and then the other guy he just fell out. So
he sold it. Yeah,
he sold it and everything. And this old lady told her husband, honey, did you see that man hit that other man? Oh my God, he knocked the devil out of him. Lord, I hope that poor child ain't hurt. And so So, and those guys was got to laughing about that. They were sitting there drinking the beer, and they just started laughing. And they were talking about, you know what?
We should fight next week.
You know what?
This was the first work of all time.
You know, yeah. So we ought to call this professional wrestling and go around and make a ton of money.
I don't know, man. I'm really not believing this story.
You really?
No, I think I'm being Billy Jack Haynes right
funny.
now.
I like it. What? It's funny. It works for me.
All right, so let's go back to it. So
Well, that's how it really
Billy
started.
Jack
gotcha.
Haynes?
How
That's
would it-
impossible.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Oh my God. That's
So-
impossible.
So you kind of know that it's going to be tough. It's going to be. You love the sport, but it might be a tough road for you, right?
Well, you know what? I just thought it was going to be tough for me anyway, not
Right,
because I was
it's
black.
tough
you know,
regardless, sure.
because I'm telling you, and I worked with the WWE for ever since got a great chance to go up there in '86. All the other places I've been. Before I call it all the other places was the road to the granddaddy of all.
Right.
You know.
Well, now that you say that, I'm sorry. At that point, you still had the NWA, you had the AWA. I know the
86,
WWE is the last stop now, but back then, if you made it to New York, that was it, or was it Atlanta? Was it?
No, I went around.
Minneapolis?
I went around Tulsa, Oklahoma. I went to Pensacola, Florida, for the Fullers. I went to Dallas, Texas, for the Von Erichs. I went to let's see. I think I went to Carolinas for a little bit. Memphis, I stayed there for 5 years before I even went anywhere.
Right.
And like I said, Bill Watts down in Mid-South Wrestling.
How was Bill Watts?
Bill Watts, at the time, I didn't know Bill Watts when I went there. I didn't know him and stuff like that. I didn't know him till after I got accepted into WWE. And that's what I'm saying. That was just the road that I was climbing. The ladder that I was climbing up to was the big dance, you know. And I didn't think that anybody saw me as an outstanding wrestler. Any promoter saw me that way, and I was shocked when I got the call from Howard Finkel after I done been in Memphis, Oklahoma, all these other places, you know, and great. I mean, they was all. It was good money, but it was, you know, wasn't no big money, you know. But it was a lot of experience.
Mm-hmm.
But when Howard Finkel called me from Mid South, I didn't believe it because I thought the wrestlers was putting a rib on me and stuff like that. You know, they love ribbon guys, and I'm going, no, this is not Howard. No, this is not Howard. And Howard said, yes, it is, Koko. I'm telling you, I'm Howard Finkel from WWE. I got to say that. And I said, really? I said, no, come on. So I tell you what, here's my number, 203 number. Call me back. I dialed the 203. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Boom. Called Howard back. It was legit. I said, wow, I can't believe it. I said, what in the world do y'all want with me, this little guy? Well, we had agents out. We had watched you for couple months. We love your style. We love your gimmick as the Birdman. I just didn't have a bird. But you had birds. I had birds on my tights and all that stuff, and I was doing the dance thing and all that. Got it from Mars Day and Time.
Yep.
When he was doing the bird, and Howard said, "Well, Vince would love for you to come up and talk to him about, you know, making a switch over. None against Bill Watts. None against, you know, we want to respect Bill. We want to do this on your off day, not on Bill's day. Do it on your off day." So I said, okay. So I got hold of Bill, and I told Bill, well, next time I'm off that I've been contacted by New York that everybody call, and we're gonna go up, and I'm gonna go up and see what's going on. And Bill Watts was just going crazy, like, oh my God, Koko, they're not gonna do anything with you and stuff like that. You're too small and all this stuff. But Koko, I'm telling you, they're not gonna do anything. They love big guys. I said, well, Bill, I said, you're not doing anything with me now JYD is gone. Okay, then Bill was trying to find who could fill in JYD
The new
spot.
JYD, yeah.
And I told Bill, I said, I can't fill in JYD spots. I'm not JYD. I'm not that big.
Who is?
You're right. You know,
Yeah.
that monster that you created.
JYD was one in a million.
And then with a big dog change around, I said, I look crazy with a little dog change around my neck and stuff like that, you know. And I said, Bill, I said, but I need to go up there and see what they're gonna offer me. I said, if I don't, I probably just want to kick myself in the rear end the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So Bill was he was a little upset, but Bill understood. That's what I like about it. He understood. So I had the meeting with Vince McMahon and stuff like that. They flew me up, and then at the end of the conversation, I had this little parrot. I had a Polaroid picture was stuck in my shirt. Somehow at the end of the conversation, Vince McMahon I said Koko, and I turned around. He said, "Is there anything else you'd like to add to your gimmick?" And I said, "Yes, Vince. I forgot about the whole thing. Right? I mean, my little parrot." I said, "Man, I would love to have this little parrot right here." And Vince looked at it. He said, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. Another animal." Says, "Now we got a snake, we got a dog, we got a dragon. Now we got a bird." He said, "You sure you want to carry this thing all around?" I said, "Vince, this is gonna be like put me up there with Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, all your big monsters." I said, this bird is gonna put me up there. So Vince going, "Well, I tell you what, it's a great idea. I mean, you know, you got everything going, and if you want to carry this bird around, I'll get you a bird for you," and stuff like that. And that's where that big successful, I'm talking about that big break that I got from out of WWE right there started.
So, with that conversation with Vince, does he just offer you the opportunity? You know, again, you're still a babe in the woods, right? You've been wrestling in Memphis for a while, but now you got you.
Well, you're new to Vince.
Yeah, and you're going big
You're
time.
new to that world.
Right.
I mean, how do you negotiate that deal? Is you just say, "Okay, I'm going to pay you this," and you're like, "Okay," or are you
Well, back
are you
then-
ready to do battle and
Right.
like get what you want?
Well, back then it was just like a verbal agreements. It wasn't any contract.
But he did tell you money, right? He did say,
Well-
"I will give you this."
Well,
right?
he didn't guarantee me the money. He said, "You're gonna do better than what you're making. You're gonna make more than what you're making down in Mid-South," and which he was right about that, you know. But back then, we just couldn't have agents. You know, if I had an agent, probably would have had a lot more money put away or whatever. But I think back then Hogan didn't even have an agent.
Yeah, sure.
You know, and they just now got agents now. You know, the
Right.
guys just now that they got a better. It's a better opportunity now than we had.
Do you
back
feel
then.
promoters took advantage of wrestlers back then? Do you feel Vince took advantage of you?
Well, you know what?
Because you were highly popular, man. You know, we were around,
But-
right?
Yeah, you were very
big
over.
time,
But
right?
you know what?
You had a huge pop.
This is
Huge
what
pop.
This is what I always wanted to say. I worked hard because my attitude and everything was like, you know, I'm a little bitty guy, but I got a big man's heart and everything. And there's no wrestler out there. There's no wrestler on this earth can outshine me. That was my thinking ability. And that's why I tell you guys, even yourself, there's no commentators out there. No radio station is even better than y'all. There's no radio station. And Vince used to preach this to us when the other wrestlers, the circuit was going on. Like, I'm not going to call their name. Hey, he said, "Guys, it ain't nothing but one wrestling association in the country, and that's WWE. There ain't no other wrestling exist. They don't exist. There's no other wrestling and there's no other wrestling out there is performing but WWE." And he said, "Keep that." He said, "I don't want nobody to mention anybody's name on my TV. I want it all by myself." And we in one big family here, and this is gonna grow and grow and grow. When we want guys with that kind of attitude to have, there's no other wrestling but WWE, and there's no other wrestler is gonna outshine Koko B. Ware. You know, and that's what. And when the lights come on, I change gears. I'm not the same person.
No.
I jump out. I'm the Birdman now.
Yep.
I'm that Birdman just looking at the stars and everything. You know, just me and Frankie. I said, Frankie, it's time to get down. You know.
Speaking of Frankie, as you grew this relationship with this animal, how many years were you together?
Oh, we was together probably 25.
25 years.
Well, these birds live a long
I know
time.
They live 100 years old. That's what they tell me.
So, how was it when you lost them?
Well, that was sad when I lost Frankie. You know, it was heartbroken, and we was in church and the house caught a fire, and my neighbor, in fact, my kids would have been in that house fire too if my wife said, let's just go ahead. We got up early. Me and her got up early. We only 5 minutes from the church, so we said, honey, just let's let the kids rest. You know, they was up Saturday night a little late. You know, let them go ahead and rest. And we only 5 minutes away from our church. And then we ate breakfast and all that. And then she said, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get the kids. Let's go ahead and get them up. They need to go to church. And you know what? God was looking over us on that one. He was watching, man. He took care of us on that one. When we got to church, man, like 45 minutes, the deacon came over and said, Koko, man, y'all house is on fire. And I said, oh, God. And this time I kept a lock on Frankie's cage because he had the tendency to unlock it himself and get out, and he'll chew up the lamps, whatever wood. He just, they're really messy birds, and I love them, but they're just real messy. And when I got there, man, the fire trucks and everybody was there, and I went around the back of the house. And I was going to kick the back door because his cage was right by the back door. And this neighbor that I never met before down the street, he was down on his knees just crying away, man, just bawling, man. And he said, Koko, he looked up at me, man, tears. And he said, Koko, I try to save your child. I try to save your child. All I could hear your child was saying, let me out, let me out. Right. When Frankie wanted to get out of the cage, he would tell you, let me out. That's what, and I have to let him out of the cage. So I told him, sir, sir, it was like a kid of mine, but it wasn't my own kid. I said, that was my pet bird I had in there. But he sure sounded just like a kid. Let me out, let me out, let me out. I can hear it now. And when the farmers, I had the farmers. What they found, they opened the cage. And they put him in a sack. And I never did open the sack. And I just, you know what? I just went on in the backyard, and I buried Frankie in the backyard. And man, you talking about really, it's just like losing a kid. I lost a good one because he was my bread and butter.
Yeah, well,
and he helped me.
Got you over big time.
He helped me to get up there.
Yeah.
And this was just all. It was just all about.
Can I ask what year this was, if I may?
I think it was. I can't even remember.
This is before your induction, I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
It just took an animal,
A family, right? They're
a family animal
Yeah.
to
Yep.
get
Yeah.
me over.
Yeah.
But I trained this wild animal.
Sure.
When they brought it to me, he was wild. He will fight. He will bite. I get bite marks on my
he
finger
bites
now.
you.
He would bite. He would do it all.
I tell you
He
what,
would-
on camera, he came across as a pro's pro.
He was mean,
Whatever that's worth.
and
Oy.
I had to really work with him, and to get the point across. Hey, either we're gonna be friends or we're gonna fight every night or whatever, and then we're gonna go out here and we're gonna do this together.
How was he able to travel with you? Like, how was that arranged? Like,
Well,
on
I
the
had a-
plane, like, where was he stored?
Well, they, all the planes got
They
a
got
place
something
for animals
him? Okay.
up underneath.
I haven't had much experience
For
bringing
the
my
heat-
pets on a plane. I'm
for
just
the
asking.
heat, It's
Right.
the winter time, for the air conditioning. It's in summer,
Right.
well, and it's a little more expensive now. But man, but we went everywhere except Canada. I couldn't take him out of the country
Oh, okay.
at all. And one time I took him. We landed in Nassau, Bahamas. It didn't have no trouble getting Frankie into Nassau. But on the way out on the USA side, I had nothing but trouble getting him out of the Bahamas. In fact, I told him I missed the flight. I mean, I was over there for 4 hours later. I said, I'm not leaving Bahamas
No.
without my bird.
Right. Nope.
And when they made sure my bird was on this plane, on it, I made sure. I said, I got to go down there and see myself. They had to walk me down and see Frankie underneath this plane.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I can get on. I can get on the flight, but I never went back to Bahamas again.
So all your work together, though, you like you said, he was your child. I mean, you talked about WrestleMania 3. Like, did Frankie know it was showtime eventually? Now he was ready to go.
Frankie knew it was showtime.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
he knew there was showtime, big time. Every time he wouldn't come out, he used to not come out of his cage. Now, when it's time to go, he knows he load himself up. I can just leave the door open and he'll walk in and get into the cage.
Well, I haven't thought about this for 20 years, but this is what you do with life and what you've done with your career and what you mean to people. When I was in the Army, I was a big wrestling fan, big fan of yours. I actually had a fake bird that was given to me, like Frankie.
Right.
And I named it Frankie. And I walked around with that thing all the time. And Frankie still, to this day, is in my basement, and
Oy.
he's known as Frankie.
Oy.
I guess my whole point is, it's like you influence people's lives, and
You brought joy.
You brought
You
joy
and
to
Frankie
people.
together brought a lot of joy.
Right.
And you did a great job. And you
Right.
did a great job, man.
And you know what? And I achieved my goal. I did everything.
yeah.
This is
yeah.
what I wanted to do, and I achieved it. And I went all the way to that I got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, and you can't take that away from me, whatever. And because I worked hard, and I think the fans out there that voted and all that stuff, if they had anything to do with it, or whoever had anything to do with it, I want to thank you today. If you hadn't heard me, to thank you all for that, because that was my goal. And like I said, and let's go back to the racial part of my coming up. You know what? It was racial. It was racial for me coming up in the ninth grade when they segregated. From being in all black school, and then they segregated the ninth grade. We all had to come together and be in high school. It was a lot of big fights. I saw my school teacher, Mr. Miller, that got hit in the face with a chair or something, somebody, and broke the glasses in his eyes and everything. And I'm telling you, it was really hell that to see this coming up, where the blacks couldn't get along with the whites. I mean, this is like fighting left. I mean, back and forth, and stuff like that. And you know what? And I said to myself, never was a part of it. I hid. I got out of the way because I didn't want to get hurt. I saw a whole black family get locked up. The mom and daddy and the kids, they locked them all up. Because the parents came down there and want to take the kids' side. And they got to fighting. They got to fighting with the teachers and everything. And the officers locked them up. But it was, it was a scary moment at that time. We came a long ways. I'm just going to say.
I was going to ask, how do you feel about the progress today?
Right. Yes. And I think the progress has gotten a whole lot better.
Don't you? I get the feeling. Don't you? You're a trailblazer in this industry.
Right.
You're with the Ernie lads.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're with the Booker T's. You're in that group.
Honestly, on an entertainment level, he's right with Booker T. Absolutely on an entertainment level.
Kind of Booker T and I have never worked together.
Okay.
But I think he was on one side of the fence and I was on the other. But we never got a chance to work the territories together.
Gotcha.
But I guess my point is, Ron Simmons, Bobo Brazil,
Tony Atlas.
You're Tony Atlas.
Yeah, Bobo Brazil.
You're in that. You're
right.
In,
That's
you
right.
are a trailblazer. That's why you're in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
People know who Koko B. Ware is.
Right.
I mean, we're going to treat the fans a little later, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I just have this feeling like, I don't know. You don't consider yourself on that level?
I do, I just think, but I want to be on everybody's level.
Were you surprised when you got inducted? Were you surprised when they called you?
I was surprised when they called me because it was 20 years later.
Okay.
And you know what? I didn't believe it when Howard called me. That's what I'm saying. So I accepted, and I did I did everything I could do, at the time, to get ready for it and all that
Did
stuff.
you ever long for the Intercontinental title or the World Heavyweight title? I know that they're just titles and business is business. Did you ever long for those belts, to want to hold those belts? No?
You know
Not at
what?
all?
It's like this.
I know I would have.
It's like this. The Bird was my champion.
Absolutely. I totally
I didn't
understand.
need to come to them.
Totally understand. I'm just curious if you ever wanted a
that
belt.
was for guys like.
Was there ever any talk that they may put a strap on you?
Well, no, not at all. Because what I'm saying, that wasn't.
You were already gold.
My gimmick.
You were already gold.
I left that up to my friend Ric Flair, Harley Race, and guys like that.
There you go. Okay.
Just and Nick Bockwinkel and guys. Jerry Lawler, those guys like that. They was in the title matches, but I had my gimmick with me, the Bird.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that, wagging that cage around, it was just like carrying one of those belts around, those heavy 10 pounds of $10,000 that you had to put up a deposit for $10,000 to carry that belt around just in case you lose it.
Yeah, sure.
2 questions if I can get them in. You've obviously done individual wrestling one-on-one and lots of tag team in your career. Did you have a preference? And number 2, who was your favorite tag team partner?
Well, you know what? I didn't have no problem with either whoever I tag team with, and they was good. Start off with Norvell Austin, with me and Bobby Eaton.
Do you feel Bobby Eaton was underrated?
I believe he was. I believe that I think we both were, and we was the first. Actually, we was like the first black and white team down in Memphis to really.
Didn't you wind up having quite the feud too? On top of it, eventually, when you guys didn't you feud with each other a little bit?
Just a little bit, but not much. But Bobby and I really got over big time in Memphis, Tennessee. It's Ebony and Ivory, and that's when Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder came out with that song.
I like that song.
And we had T-shirts out, and all that stuff, And so that's where we got the gimmick from. From that's what we was calling ourselves, and then my good friend Jerry the King Lawler came up. He was the Vince McMahon back in the day, along with Jerry Jarrett. Yeah. I mean, they came up with ideas, and that's what Lawler came up with the PYT Express gimmick. with the Kamala, the Ugandan giant. Jerry Lawler came up with that gimmick. And then he came up with, the Rock and Roll Express. So,
Lola did the Rock and Roll Express.
yes, Jerry Lawler did the Rock and Roll
You
Express.
didn't know that?
Pretty good run there for Jerry.
You
with
didn't
the
know that,
ideas.
Pharaoh?
No, I don't know.
How about you, Miller? Did you know that?
You know.
Yes.
What a liar!
Bullshitter.
Oh my
There's
God!
one thing about this guy. He does talk
His
shit.
timing is great.
He's
though.
got the right name. Miller.
Miller.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you
my
about your
Lord.
finisher. Where did you come up with that finisher? And if I was wrestling you, I wouldn't want to be. That was probably the most dangerous finisher I've ever
Talking about the
seen.
Bird Buster?
That's right,
The
Bird
Bird
Buster.
Buster.
Well, you know what? One of my older friends, I saw this move was done down in Pensacola, Florida. His name was Louis Tillett. And Louis Tillett would what he called the brain buster somebody. And I saw that finish where and I didn't know he was going to do it. I was watching the match, and when he brain busted this guy, man, I just I couldn't believe it. Everybody just grabbed their neck in the audience and stuff like that. And I was going, oh my God. I said, what a move. What a move. So I went to Louis and I asked Louis, I said, Louis, you gotta tell me what's the secret, how to hold the guy's neck like that. Because he set him up like it was going to be a suplex. But Louis held him. And Louis said, Koko, you just got to count 1,001. 1,000. Well, the guy's holding.
Yeah.
And everybody's looking in the audience. 1,002. And just comes down. Just whoop. He said, but you gotta lock your neck, his neck in on your arms, because you can't break his neck.
Yeah.
He said, don't break a guy's neck, whatever you do. He said, you on your own, then Koko. But it's been a great move that a lot of guys can't do and stuff like that. I haven't seen anybody.
Listen, one of the best moves and one of the best finishers ever. Now in today's WWE, you drop it on, the guy would stand up in 1 second.
Oh,
and
yeah.
get ready to go at you again.
Well,
right?
see, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't do it if they're gonna jump right up. They wouldn't kill that off.
Yeah, damn straight.
And and the business have changed and stuff like that. But you know what? You still can't knock or reset those guys, because I'm telling you, man, they still breaking down. WrestleMania's coming up here Sunday. I'm sure they're gonna have an outstanding crowd. I'm just glad to be a part of it, and I don't have anything against anybody and stuff like that. And going back to the racial thing again, I'm telling you, when I came up, it was I don't know what they were saying in the dressing room behind my back, but they never came and told me to my face and called me out of my name.
Gotcha.
And I never called them out of their name to their face. So I'm like, and I'm like this. That generation is gone. Let's turn the page. Let's do the right thing, and let's get along.
Amen.
Because that's the generation that we had in the back years ago. Yes, it's history. But think about it though, let's move on from it. Let's don't keep throwing people under the bus. Dragging it through the mud. Because I love Martin Luther King. But Martin Luther King's gone on. Martin Luther King is up there talking up in Glory Land. Trying to get some folks up there right. He had a dream. He's having that dream up there. Thank God. He had it down here. But a lot of us wouldn't even pay any attention to it. Till it's too late. You see? People don't know what Dr. Martin Luther King was talking about, because they didn't want to take time to understand it.
If I may, on a historical note, 51 years ago today was the day Dr. King was killed.
51.
Wow.
Yeah, right in Memphis, Tennessee. But what I'm saying, I'm just saying to all our generations, let's get along. I don't have a problem against if you want to marry, my son's married to a Caucasian lady, and I have some beautiful grandkids.
So even if you have bad pizza, you're okay? Like, you don't like that person?
What?
Well, if
If you eat some pizza and then you have
pizza.
the runs and your stomach hurts, you're okay with
you
that?
actually heard that
well,
happen
it
to
just
him.
depends.
Is that true?
If you make it, say if you make the pizza for me and I got sick or had bad runs in it.
Did that ever happen to you in New York?
Well,
heard it
you know,
did.
I better watch it.
Well, you're back in New York now. You better be careful.
That's what I'm saying. I'm in
Yeah,
New
you
York.
better be careful.
Got to be careful.
Mean things will be said. Yeah, you got to be
Hey,
very careful.
So, Mom, Dad, WrestleMania 3, were they around for that?
I don't think so.
So what are you thinking when you walk? By the way, the Natural Butch Reed is here this Sunday at
Yeah.
5 p.m. only here on Village Connection Radio. And
Butch Reed.
Butch
Tell him
Reed.
I said hello.
Yeah, I will.
What a great guy. Oh, my God.
I will.
Saturday.
By the way, J.J. Maguire
Yes,
says hello and he loves you.
I know it. And I love him, too.
JJ.
JJ's the man.
And I'm telling
Yes, we
you,
love
JJ is the one, along with Jimmy Hart, that came up with Pile Driver.
Well, speaking of
And-
Pile Driver,
No.
would you grace us? Well, in studio we have Wisteria Hall, which is a up and coming band here in New York. The frontman, the lead guitarist Bart Griggs, the frontman, our own Jimmy Pharaoh.
Hello.
Wow.
We would be honored.
We would be.
if you could sing with Wisteria.
but one
Hall.
thing.
Go ahead.
I'm really upset with you.
What did I do?
What happened?
Oh, wait, I feel a setup coming. Go ahead.
Why is there always a
Oh, 'cause I
setup?
smell you. Anyway, go on. Let me have it, Koko.
No,
Go ahead,
really,
Koko.
all this time here, you was answering good questions about the.
Yeah.
But you didn't
Stay up
really.
late all
But
night.
you didn't like me being in the Hall of Fame. What's wrong with that?
You steaming
You didn't like from me.
of turd.
Listen.
I mean,
Monte
well,
the
you know
Pharaoh
what?
is seen by
know what?
thousands
Since
and thousands
since
of
we've
people
gone
every
there-
week.
wait a minute. Do you want to get power drive?
No way, man. No.
I'm telling you,
I
can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Absolutely.
It's happening again.
No,
Over
it's
there.
not happening again.
I can't
I'm
believe it.
sitting down and he can just.
You're the one.
Go ahead.
You're the troublemaker.
I am.
I'm telling you right. You understand? You're the troublemaker. Go ahead. Yeah, you're the troublemaker. Go ahead. Man.
I knew he was
I can't believe it.
Can I at least tell the story?
The Pharaoh
Do
is
I
a
get-
tech. There's no story.
No.
For that,
I lose.
Let's sing Pile Drive.
watch this.
Oh no.
Come on, guys. Y'all ready?
Get on in there with him, Jimmy.
Oy.
Hold on, we're gonna set up. Get on right over there, Mister.
dear God.
Beware, Jimmy Pharaoh will be with you.
Oy.
Wow, only here on Monte and the
Monte and
Pharaoh.
the Pharaoh.
You
Oh
get
my
to
God.
see the famous Koko Beware
Are we
WWE Hall
ready?
of
Where are we
Famer,
going, though?
along with Wisteria Hall.
Yeah.
Gonna sing one of my favorite
Are we ready?
songs.
I'm gonna play it twice. Jump into the
Coco, you did say that J.J. Maguire wrote this song, right?
Yeah, JJ and the mouth of the world.
That's Mouth
Jimmy
of the
Hart.
South. And let me tell you, I have that album. I love this song. I love the video. And I cannot, you just don't understand what this means to me.
All right.
You're not gonna dance, are you?
I might.
Oh.
Are we ready?
I think, when are we ready? You ready, Bart?
Are we ready?
Yeah, I'm just gonna play 2 rounds.
Wait a minute.
Give me one.
Are you nervous?
No.
Play it, boy. Play it. Play it. Slow dance. You ain't got. You in the wrong tune. What's wrong with you?
You can tiptoe around,
But don't make a sound. You can make a little silent romance. Sometimes love feels like a fight. It sounds like a million man. It sounds just like a power driver.
yeah,
Yeah, power driver. Yeah. Sometimes love, it just feels fake. First you think it's so wrong, but something goes wrong. It feels like a great big mistake. Sometimes love, it feels just right. It feels so real. It feels just like a power driver. Yeah, power drivers. Yeah,
Rich baby,
you got my
you're right beside
I
her.
heard your heart's on fire. you hardwire, higher power driver. Yeah, power driver. Yeah.
Guitar solo, where's JJ?
Yeah. So sometimes love, it feels just right. It feels so real. It feels loud. Power driver. Power driver.
Lord, yeah.
Well, Lord, power driver.
Yeah, we out.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, that was unbelievable.
Thank you.
And this has been an incredible episode. I want to thank Koko Beware. I want to thank Wisteria Hall. You are watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Thank you, Mr. Koko Beware.
Thank you for having me.
You are incredible. We'll see you tomorrow with Lanny Poffo, and then Saturday we got Stan Hansen, J.J. Dillon, and the Natural Butch Reed. It is like a pile driver.
Like a power driver!